Yo, what is up guys? So, someone finally sent in some pretty good gameplay for the new Crystal Beast in action. Now, if you guys didn't know, Crystal Beast got one new, boss monster. It's one of the new fusion monsters that you can actually get out pretty easy with just one card. And Bruce Wayne over here definitely going to be showing off a few different matchups as well as just a variety of gameplay here. So you guys can kind of see how the deck works. And especially since the guy isn't just playing something that would be considered Ice Barrier tier, it definitely can showcase off what the deck can do against some more powerful decks. I mean, look at that turn 1 play that the Lightsworn player pulled off. He had probably ran out of time with all of those monsters in the extra deck zone. He probably could have made some other things, but really what it comes down to, if you guys didn't really see how the deck works now, they definitely do need some other monsters. So that's really where I feel like the deck kind of falls short. But what the deck basically does is throws out this fusion monster called Rainbow Over Dragon, or the Ultimate Crystal Rainbow Over Dragon is probably what it will be called once it comes out. There's a few new support cards that got released recently, just a few days ago. We had the new Crystal Beast card that lets you just search out another, well, one of them searches out Crystal Beast and one of them can search out a Crystal card, which can definitely help out with the consistency of the deck. But I really feel like the archetype just needs another monster. So he actually cannot target some of the stuff over here because Crystal Vanguard protects all of your Crystal Beast monsters from being targeted with card effects. And if anything goes wrong, once you have your Rainbow Over the Dragon, what you're able to do is just tribute it and shuffle all cards on the field into the deck. And it also has 4,000 attack. So at the core concept of the deck, as of right now, keep in mind there might be new support that comes out later down the line, but a lot of you guys have requested me to get you guys some gameplay, and this is just excellent gameplay courtesy of Bruce Wayne here. But basically, that's what the deck does. It gets out this boss monster that has 4,000 attack, and it's really easy to get out. I'll go over some of the card effects as well as give you guys a deck profile in just a second so you guys can kind of see how the deck is built over here. But yeah, this is another one of the newer cards. This one lets you add a crystal spell trap card from your deck to your hand, except for crystal counter or violet crystal. But anyways, yeah, you get out the 4,000 attacker, you throw out the Crystal Vanguard, so in a sense, you're able to get out a 4,000 attacker that can, at any point, just shuffle everything back into the decks, and that can help you deal with maybe a board that is already established. And then on top of that, your opponent cannot target your Crystal Beast or Rainbow Dragon and Rainbow Dark Dragons with card effects. And I believe this still blankets the fusion monster. That's why the Michael Arc Lightsworn actually had to target this in the first place to get rid of this before they were able to kind of deal with the board. But it's putting up a pretty good fight. I mean, we had the Bagasuka over here, number 41. Really good stuff. But anyways, like I said, there's a few different matchups that I want to showcase off. That it definitely also made the opponent make some plays where it wasn't just a blowout. But there's a card in the archetype that is actually pretty strong, which I'll show you. Basically, you're playing counter fairies in Crystal Beast, which, again, I'll show you guys that in a second. So this guy's playing the Invoked, and you guys can see over here the Crystal Beast Topaz Tiger. I remember when this card was out in one of the video games. I remember running it just because whenever it attacked, it gained 400 attack. It's a small boost, but keep in mind a lot of these cards are kind of outdated, and I think that that's one problem that Crystal Beast currently have, is that the whole archetype, as far as the main core monsters, they're a little bit lackluster, because the two best cards I would say that the deck really has in terms of the monsters is going to be Sapphire Pegasus, as well as the Carbuncle. Carbuncle lets you just special summon all of the Crystal Beasts that are in the back row, and then Pegasus lets you just put one down. Overall, most of the effects, again, are just relatively mediocre. And that's one thing that I think the deck really needs to improve upon. But once you summon the Carbuncle, and when it is a special summon, you can just summon all your Crystal Beasts, and therefore you get to just go ahead and make other things. And it goes ahead and makes 8 Phantom Knights of Swordbreak, so you can definitely still make other things. And I feel like that's what the deck currently needs to really do, is you utilize Carbuncle, and you're able to go into multiple link monsters from there. Heck, if you had a Grinder Golem combo before a Carbuncle, you could summon so many monsters, and at that point it just becomes a link summon deck. However, you guys will see, again, a few variety of ways that you can play the deck. The next one I want to showcase off is basically playing it like it would be counter fairies over here. So he's going to go and attack for 4,000, but he's going to be taking a little bit less damage over there by dropping the card from his hand. We see the Jack Knights over here. Interesting mix-up. I like seeing just like interesting different archetypes kind of working together. You guys can see over here he's got the Raging over here. He's going to put that card face down because that Rainbow Dragon surprisingly only has 0 defense points over here. He's going to go ahead and attack over the cat, and then he's going to attack over the Rainbow Dragon. He still has a Crystal Abundance over here, so he's going to go ahead and summon the Sapphire Pegasus, place one over there, make it number 41, and then go ahead and send all of them just to the graveyard, and then he's just going to go ahead and bring out some extra Crystal Beast monsters. So Crystal Abundance is kind of like their way of saying, you know, you've got an established board, I'm going to go ahead and break that board because I've used some of my Crystal Beasts, and then on top of that, you're supposed to summon as many Crystal Beast monsters as possible from your graveyard up to the number of cards your opponent controls that were sent to the graveyard. So you get to send 4 of them, and then you send all cards. You basically get to board wipe your opponent. You're Regeckiing them and Harpy's Feather Duster, and then you get a bunch of monsters out. That's kind of like their like old like, oh, I'm winning the game card. Now I want to showcase it off in the what the heck? Okay, it lagged there for a second, but anyways, so this is the well, once we get to the field spell, it'll come out here in just a second. But this is Crystal Bonds. Oh, and this is another one of those new cards. So you get to add a Crystal Beast monster from your deck to your hand. If you do, you get to place a Crystal Beast monster with a different name from your deck in your face-up continuous spell zone. But that one didn't get negated, but we see Pegasus over here. He's going to be placing himself back over there. Then he's going to go ahead and add the Crystal Horde because he's actually playing against counter fairies here, and you guys will see. Oh, actually, is this the one that's the BLS one? Okay, hold on. Let me remind myself which one it was. Like I said, there's a few duels in here that just showcase off a variety of gameplay in here. So this is really like the card that makes the deck really, really strong. It's just ultimate crystal formation. And what you're able to do is just get out like a 4K beater, and you get to send a bunch of Crystal Beast monsters to the graveyard. And you guys can see he's not able to keep up. So like some of these more like obscure like anti-meta-ish decks like Counter Fairies, even though Crystal Beast is what I would consider a slower deck, you can still kind of keep up with these other slower decks that would try to negate everything. The reason why I want to showcase off this one is just because I wanted to mention that Crystal Beast actually can get around certain things, like whether it's like a counter trap card and they still get placed there, or if there's Macro Cosmos or D-Fissure, you can actually still place them. That was why I wanted to clip this video for that. So this one over here is the one I actually wanted to showcase off, that I wanted to show off the Rainbow Ruins, which is the field spell for the archetype. It actually has so many different effects, but this is basically playing it like it's Counter Fairy. So this one has the effect of, if I can mouse over the card, I guess I could pause it over here. But anyways, during either player's turn when a spell track card is activated, you can send a Crystal Beast monster you control to the graveyard to negate the activation, and if you do, destroy it. So basically, if you can get a bunch of Crystal Beasts in your back row, you're able to basically use this effect multiple times, because that is not an actual once per turn effect. There is a once per turn effect where you get to half the battle damage. You also get a +1 draw if you have a certain amount. Like I said, this one has just so many different effects. So he's going to summon Carbuncle. Carbuncle is going to special summon the whole squad out there. Then he's going to go ahead and attack for some damage. And again, I just want to showcase off this one over here, because this is basically like playing it as if it was a Counter Fairy deck, where he's just going to go ahead and just negate a bunch of different things. So his opponent's activating a card effect, and he's going to go and summon the Super Soldier. He's going to go ahead and get rid of the Castell. He's going to go ahead and place the Amber Mammoth in his back row instead of sending it to the graveyard. You can actually decide that, but more than likely you're going to be using that effect anyways. So you can kind of clog up your back row over here, but certain times it doesn't really matter, because you're not going to need all of them. But he's going to go ahead and make a big play over here. He's gotten so many extra effects. He can actually draw an extra card. He passes it then to his opponent. He's going to activate that. He can negate this with the Rainbow Ruins. He's going to activate Foolish. He's going to negate that again. And this is why I wanted to showcase off this one. Like, you can negate the effects multiple times, which I was unaware of. I think back during that time period, maybe people just didn't notice it, that you can activate it multiple times per turn, because I had no idea. And I thought that was kind of interesting that you can kind of play the deck like that. And the next one up, I wanted to showcase it off versus a newer deck. This is the Tindangles, which is a newer archetype. It almost reminded me of Infernoid / Inferni, because you actually like can play the deck without having cards, which you guys will see very soon over here. So he goes ahead and makes a Minerva and sets one back row, and he's only got one card left in his hand. but he's going to go ahead and use that Crystal Vanguard effect, so he can attribute it to search out a card. And then his opponent is going to go ahead and make the Intruder over here. There's a lot of flip effects, so they actually will do work well with the Subterror archetype. But anyways, this one as a flip effect as the Intruder. When this card is normal summon, you get to send a Tindangle card from your deck to the graveyard, and if the monster is special summoned from your field, oh gosh, sometimes these go too fast. Special summon from to your field in face down defense position while this card is in your graveyard, you get to special summon this card in face down defense position. So basically, again, the whole deck is all about flip effects. Majority of them do have a flip effect, but he goes ahead and makes the Subterror Behemoth, and it does require 2 flip effect monsters. And this one has the ability, oh gosh, like I said, sometimes it goes a little bit fast over here, but he's got a 3k beater now. And it gains attack equal to the total original levels of the Subterror monsters used as link material times 100. And then during your main phase, which is the important effect, you can send 1 flip monster from your deck to the graveyard. And if you do, you get to special summon 1 monster from your hand to your zone that this card points to in face down defense position. Now, over there, we did see the Rainbow Overdragon completely get rid of everything. And that's really what I think the Crystal Beasts are designed to do right now. Again, there was that other card where you basically get a Regek your opponent. You send everything to the graveyard, and then you can special summon a bunch of Crystal Beasts up to the number of cards that were sent over there. But he's got 4 face down monsters, and it's interesting to see like the interaction that Crystal Beasts have against some of these newer archetypes. But in this build, we didn't see him go for like a bunch of link monsters, but obviously that is something that's very easy to do with Carbuncle's effect. But I want to showcase off the Tindangles because that is another newer archetype. But this card's got 4,000 attack, he special summons Carbuncle will then bring back the Crystal Beast Topaz Tiger over here, so he's not going to be taking any damage. But he's got 2 4,000 attackers, but he summons the Rainbow Dragon over here, throwing down the Vanguard so his cards cannot be targeted. And this card gains extra attack when it is actually if you have 3 or more, it gains 500 attack for each Tindangle monster that it's pointed to. So basically, it incorporates you putting your monsters in some zones. So he still has 2 monsters that are relatively strong, but Rainbow Dragon can actually get rid of your other Crystal Beast to actually gain 1,000 attack for each card that you're getting rid of. And that's a permanent effect, and then he's going to go ahead and attack into the Angel. Angel's going to then get another card, but it doesn't really matter at this point. Because he's got a 6,000 beater. In some decks, their answers to bigger monsters is just to get like, they have like 1 monster that can get like a certain amount of attack, and then like once it exceeds that, sometimes some decks just kind of have a problem with dealing with just big beaters. And again, at this point, he's got a 6,000 attacking monster that can also not be cannot target Crystal Beast or Rainbow Dragon. So like it just becomes a problem again from certain decks. I guess Mondolches would be the answer to the Crystal Beast, like kind of, I would say like slightly like, I don't want to call it really a lock. It's more or less just like a really decent combo that the deck has, and it's just get out the Rainbow Dragon, boost its attack up to over whatever a Utopia would be at after it detaches, and then you make it so they can't target it. And then some decks they just fold at this point. I mean, the Tindangle archetype, I mean, he's gone through like his entire deck over here, and he just can't deal with the 6,000 monster that cannot be targeted. I don't blame him though. Sometimes certain decks they don't have an answer to it. So he's got a 5,000 monster, right? That's pretty good. But each monster opponent controls loses 1,000 attack for each monster that is linked to it. But he doesn't really need to play around that. He just says GG over here because he realizes that obviously this can't move, change his battle position. So he would just go ahead and attack into him for 5,000 the next turn. So yeah, the Crystal Beast archetype, now that you guys have seen it in action, for those of you guys that do want a deck profile, I'm going to go ahead and give it to you. Thank you, Bruce Wayne, for sending in this deck, because I think you made it look pretty good, and I know a lot of people requested me to play the new Crystal Beast. I tried, I just didn't get, I guess, my build up, and I think maybe this is the right version. I would really like to see some more like Solemns in here, because I feel like that card is just too key. Also, hand traps would be a great addition, but one problem that I see with the deck is that the ultimate crystal formation, you kind of need to play a high monster count to get its effect off, because if you draw those other specific Crystal Beasts, then you're not able to send them to the graveyard. So there's a lot of, like, I would say problems with Crystal Beasts at the moment. Who knows what other support might come out, but I know, again, it's like a fan favorite archetype. So let's go ahead and jump into the deck profile, and I'll explain some other things that maybe need to be explained if, we didn't go over them in the video. So anyways, first off, we have 2 copies of Rainbow Dragon. It's just kind of a 4K beater, but it can get increased, and like I said, when you have the Crystal Vanguard, and some decks just can't deal with it. And then we have 3 copies of Crystal Beast Sapphire Pegasus, 2 copies of Amber Mammoth, 2 copies of Topaz Tiger, We got Cobalt Eagle, 2 copies of him, 2 copies of Amethyst Cat, and 2 copies of Tortoise. And then we have 3 copies of Carbuncle. I think the best Crystal Beast monsters, again, I mentioned it in the video, but Carbuncle and Pegasus, I think will still be good, even if we get like more like new support, maybe like crystallized Crystal Beast or something. I really think we need new monsters. And like I said, I've mentioned it several times, but I just feel like the older support, it's just too old to really utilize. And heck, when are we getting these, by the way? I'm pretty sure we still don't have these in the TCG, and like no one really used them in the OCG. It was cool that they added them, but it was kind of just like pointless. But I mean, with the new support, maybe it'll make more sense. Next up, we have a rare value over here. So this is kind of like the Pot of Greed, if you will, for the deck. If you have 2 or more Face of Crystal Beast monsters in your spell and trap zone, your opponent chooses one of them and sends it to the graveyard, and then you get to draw 2 cards. Then you have 3 copies of Rainbow Bridge, which just searches out the deck, and then same thing with Crystal Bonds. It searches out the deck, but this one lets you place one in the continuous spell and trap zone. And then we have 3 copies of Crystal Beacon. So let's let you special summon a Crystal Beast monster from your deck, and you have to have 2 or more Crystal Beasts in the back row to activate that effect. You have 2 copies of Crystal Abundance, so this is basically like the Regeki, I'm winning the game if I'm activating this, which you can do pretty fast in the deck. However, is it fast enough to compete with today's meta? I feel like that's where I feel like it's unfortunate. Again, the deck just needs to be a little bit faster, but this card is great, but there's one problem that you can only activate 1 of them per turn. So obviously, with like searching out like Pegasus, that places down 2, so you can activate a lot of things relatively quick compared to what you would do before in Crystal Beast. But again, it just might be, if this didn't have like a once per turn, it'd be just so much better. I mean, however, with this one, you can activate it multiple times. Anyways, next up, we have 2 copies of the Field Spell, which is Ancient City Rainbow Ruins, which has like several different effects. So if you have 1, it can't be destroyed by card effects. 2, including the opponent. Once per turn, you can half the battle damage you take. And then as 3 or more, you guys saw it where it was just negate, negate, negate. And then at 4, once per turn, your main phase, you can draw another card. So that's actually really good. It actually has some extra little draw power in there. And then as 5, once per turn during your main phase, you can target a Crystal Beast monster in your spell and trap zone, and you special summon that. So that lets you special summon Carbuncle, which will then let you special summon Pegasus, which will then get you some other cards. I think one thing that would be really like good for the archetype is being able to manipulate the graveyard, perhaps like a Crystal Beast Pot of Avarice, if you will, something like that. I think one of the monsters needs that effect. Or again, we need new monsters. And then we have the Ultimate Crystal Formation over here, and this is the one where it basically lets you just get out this card for almost free. You basically send 7 of them, and then you just, bam, you're ready, good to go. And then if something goes wrong, you just get rid of this card, and you shuffle everything back into the deck. Great, great effect. And then we have 3 copies of Crystal Horde, which will then make it so once per turn, if a Crystal Beast monster you control would be destroyed by battle card effect, you can special summon a Crystal Beast monster from your deck. So this kind of helps you out with some sustain. And then also, in addition to that, you can send this face-up card from the field to the graveyard, then target a Crystal Beast monster you control and 1 other card in the field, and you bounce them back to hand. It says you cannot activate these effects in the same chain, but it's still just a really good card. You can get rid of the problematic card for the Crystal Beast. But anyways, for the extra deck, we got 2 copies of Rainbow Dragon. We got the Utopia lineup, 2 copies of number 41. I feel like this is a really key card in a lot of decks now. And then we have 101, we have Tornado Dragon, Castell, the Lightning Chidori, kind of a card that got phased out, but I still think it's good if, you know, obviously you can play. It's a little bit difficult, I would say, in this deck to pull off, because it requires you to have 2 Pegasus, but heck, it's still pretty good. And then we have Cowboy, number 47, and then Break Sword, Verlord, and Decode Talker. I think you guys can definitely make this deck a little bit different and make it more of a Link-oriented deck. If you guys have any cool ideas for that, let me know in the comment section below. But I definitely feel like this deck can still be a successful deck later online if it gets some more support. Because, I mean, we have some insane cards. I mean, Rainbow Ruins is great. However, again, the problem is the deck is a little bit too slow. Even though it's faster than it was, it's just not up to par with some of the turn 1 plays that certain decks can make. And that's, I think, the biggest problem that it has right now. Also, most of the monsters, again, with the exception of these 2, they're just really outdated. They need new monsters. I know I mentioned it several times, but I'm trying to really emphasize that. You'll see when you play the deck. Like, try the deck out yourself. And if you guys have any suggestions, I would love to hear them in the comment section below. But anyways, Thanks for watching, guys. If you enjoyed the video, drop a like on it for some more Crystal Beast videos, and I hope that we'll release some more stuff soon, because they're slowly introducing some new stuff, and I really want to see if they come out with some extra, you know, rainbow, like just boss monsters, ultimate Crystal Beast monsters. I hope that they release maybe a Link monster. That'd be cool. Maybe an Exceed. I always thought it'd be really cool if they made an Exceed for the Crystal Beast, where you get to use the monsters in your back row, or maybe make a tuner. Maybe you can synchro summon using one of the Crystal Beasts as material from the back row. I think that would have been really cool. I mean, there's so many other opportunities for Crystal Beasts in the future, and they are kind of a cool mechanic. And I like things like Infernities, things where you get to just do different things. I like that. Like, you know, you play with no hand with Crystal Beasts, the monsters go to the back row. It's just a cool concept, and I wish that they would make it a more meta archetype. Who knows? You guys let me know your thoughts down below. But thanks for watching, guys, and I am signing out.